¿Qué pasó, señorito?
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Bueno. I don't know where to go from there. Welcome, everybody. This is Snail Mail.
The Spanish edition.
This is a multilingual podcast on Fridays.
Yeah, ciao, ¿cómo stai? Bene,
Bien.
molto bene, non c'è mai.
Si, senor.
Ni hao ma.
Oh, man. Anyways, Snail Mail episode. This is Friday. So we get to interact and chat with you guys. We didn't have one last week because somebody abandoned everybody.
What?
What?
My fault?
What?
Why? Where was I at?
I don't know. Not in the States. They're out of country, man.
Oh, what? We had one last week. We didn't have one a week before.
Okay. It was one of those.
It's getting late in the day. We're getting a little delirious, but that's going to make this episode even better for you.
Yay. The Off the Wall Shit Show podcast on Fridays where we get to talk to you guys. So
this is actually one of my favorite segments that we do now.
I 100% agree.
I love hearing from you guys. I love the randomness that we get to chat about because of your randomness to us. And it's totally unscripted on our end, which is a lot of fun because normally, we have to sit down. We have to think a little bit about what our episodes are going to be, primarily Mondays, right? Because those are main topics. But Thursdays, we talk about what we do. But this is really, we're talking about what you do, which is a lot of fun.
Yep.
Plus, we like to try to force you to spend more money.
That's true.
Yeah.
We definitely love helping you guys spend your money. So that's one of the things we're good at here. Oh, the first voicemail might be about money.
Perfect.
So yeah, what we do here on Friday is you guys call in to 916-345-4744. You leave us a voicemail about any topic at all, whether that's feedback from a previous episode. I know we have at least one angry voicemail in here. I don't think we'll get to it today.
Aw.
But you guys call about anything at all. It could be about some video games. If you guys like video games, it could be about the Olympics. If you have some feedback on what should be a sport, what should be a competition, there's anything and anything is up for grabs. We'll cover it pretty much within reason. So
I want to know if you've been to Machu Picchu.
Yeah. I definitely, I want to know if anybody's been to Chichen Itza as well.
I have.
That's just fun to say.
Yeah. Chichen Itza.
Chichen Itza.
No, you know what's even better to say? Lake Titicaca, which I've been there too.
You have?
Uh-huh.
Isn't that the one with, they have a bunch of reeds everywhere and they've like built houses on all the reeds for that?
They have floating islands built out of reeds and then they have buildings on them. And that's because the tribe was getting invaded a whole bunch of times and they were fed up with it. So they invented a way to float the tribe away from everybody. Yeah. It's also the highest commercially traveled lake in the world. Highest elevation. It's almost like 12,000 feet.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Crazy.
That's pretty nuts.
Yeah. So,
there's no super high elevation lakes in Colorado?
Not 12,000. Not commercially traveled.
Commercially. So like tours go there? Tours?
Yeah.
Or what?
The lake's so huge and there's like 2 or 3 countries. I know Peru and Bolivia, I think, border it. And so there's like big ass barges that sail back and forth from some of the main cities across the lake. It's literally, it's larger than Tahoe.
Wow.
Like you're up there and you can barely see the other side.
Okay.
Like you would think it's like a mirage.
It's not quite as big as one of the Great Lakes then.
No.
Okay. But
the Great Lakes are like sea level.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
So let's make a trip to Titicaca sometime.
Yeah. There's got to be some good wheeling out that way for sure.
Yeah, 12,000 feet, man. It'd be good.
Definitely.
Anyways, all right. So we got some voicemails here.
Okay, let's do it.
First one up is from Rim. Yeah, who was just on the Rubicon in the sperm whale.
Thanks for the inviting me.
Yeah, I didn't get an invite either. I was kind of like...
I messaged him and he's like, oh, welcome back. I'm like, dude, I've been back long enough to go on a trip with you to the Rubicon, jerk.
Yep. Assholes. Anyways, let's see what he has. Something about, I don't know. All right, let's see what he says.
All right.
Where's the play button? Here we go.
Jimmy, Tyler, Jimmy, Snail Trail, the spell function, Lee, miss you guys. Anyways, overheating, mechanical fan, yes. What we do in the Land Cruiser world is we swap out the fluid. We put in a more viscous fluid or a thicker fluid. So generally, we mix in 1,500 or 2,000. You can get those little bottles from Amazon. They're for RC car shocks. I think go for the gusto. You can throw in the 2,000. And what that does is it doesn't let the clutch slip as much. So you get more airflow. So you let it drain overnight. It'll seep out. It's kind of gooey stuff. And then put in the good stuff. I can send you some articles if you want. But yeah, you can put in some nice thick stuff. And before you put that in, the other thing you can do while you're playing with it is there's a spring in there. And that spring is thermally controlled by your motor, or it's from the heat, and that will open and close the orifices inside the fan, and that's what lets the fluid go to where it needs to go on the outside, I think, and that's where the shearing happens, and you can play with where that opens and closes, so you can make it so that your mechanical clutch opens sooner and starts cooling faster. If that doesn't work, I say you go to an oil cooler, mount it to the side of your block, and you can use a transmission cooler, put some lines to it, put a little fan on it, and that should bring down your engine temps nicely. Anyways, hope to see you guys soon. It's been too long since we've been on a trail. Jimmy did some things to me last time, but we're moving forward. There, guys. Oh, yeah. Rovers suck. Bye.
Love it.
Okay, so I was very confused.
I just
80% of that.
So much about clutch fans that I had no idea that even existed.
I didn't realize we were talking about clutch fans. I was like, the fuck, you want to put the super viscous thing in your cooling?
Yeah,
your
that
radiator?
was originally when I was like, you 1,500 weight oil in your coolant? Like, what are you talking about?
I was like, Lee, I love you, but you are on some good drugs right now, man.
Yeah, I roll over. You must have hit your head harder than I thought.
Jimmy did some things to him.
Yeah,
so.
I did.
Anyways, so he's talking about replacing the oil in your mechanical fan clutch.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what we figured out. Yeah.
So I have never even heard of that. I don't even know. I don't know enough about how a fan clutch works to be able to know what kind of oil was in those in the first place.
I thought it was springs.
I knew that there was oil of some kind, but I thought it was kind of like how a thermostat works, where as it heats up, it becomes more viscous and allows the clutch to slip or go outwards and engage. And otherwise it slips, right? If it's cold and constricted, then it brings the
oil
meshing back together
yeah.
and it doesn't engage to make the fan turn. But I don't know what kind of oil or how those actually work. So that was fantastic.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So there's heavier weights mean that the fan's going to spin longer.
Yep.
And you can add different levels of springs to have it start sooner.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So you can fine tune the clutch.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
That is good job, Lee.
Yeah.
Wow. First time calling, you actually give some good information.
That's funny. I did not understand the oil cooler on the side of the block though, and running it through the transmission cooler.
No, I think what he was saying is get an oil cooler, more or less get an oil cooler, get a radiator, plumb things through the oil cooler. And then put a fan to it and stuff so that you're cooling the oil down. Therefore,
from the engine,
Okay. So therefore you're cooling the inside of your engine by keeping
the oil cooler.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Got it.
So not trying to cool. Your main concern is my coolant isn't cooling well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he was saying, well,
cool,
you can also cool it another way.
Gotcha.
Right? By having an oil cooler.
Okay. Sweet. That was some good stuff, Lee.
Yeah. First time.
We're still mad at you for leaving us though and going on the Rubicon.
Yeah.
So
with all those Land Cruisers and one 4th gen 4Runner.
Yeah. who tries to identify as Land Cruiser.
Yep.
So,
and a taco this weekend.
And a taco?
Yeah, because he's going up to
that's right.
Solid Axe
Tacos
on the Rubicon, whatever. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Next one. I don't know who this is.
What's your name?
What's your name? So let's see what he's got to going on here.
Hey, Tyler and Jimmy. This is Pike the Peak. Look at your DMs. You'll figure out who I am. I was just calling. Was been listening to the most recent SnailMail episode, and was kind of interested in the thoughts of the vlogs in the national parks. And I get it. Don't be annoying, but food for thought. I live in the middle part of America, so I watch a lot of vloggy, like off-road stuff, like Nate and Colt, and even some of you guys' stuff, like when you took the glue tread run on the Rubicon. Because those are all bucket list places for me, and it's cool to see the videos of what they're like and what to do. Anyways, just a thought. Some of us are landlocked in their bucket list trips. Love the podcast. Keep up the great work, guys. And you suck. Okay, bye.
I love this new theme we're bringing to the podcast.
Thanks, Rover Don.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Who was it?
Mike the Peak?
Mike the Peak.
Yeah, so it came up here on the Google transcriber as Pike the Peak. So I thought it was something to do with Pike's Peak. But yeah, Mike the Peak. Look through your DMs. You'll know. Got it.
I think I found him.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm sorry you're landlocked.
Yeah.
I don't. So what were we talking about? Reviewing me traveling around all the national parks?
No, I think this was more about the photography in public places law thing.
Good. Yeah. Valid point.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you can't do the videos in there, then the people that will never be able to travel there will never be able to see it.
And experience it. It's kind of live vicariously through content creators.
Yeah.
And that is, in my opinion, like when I first started when we started the podcast, we started looking at content creation, when I was starting to learn about what you did with SnailTrail4x4 on YouTube, it really appealed to me that I think you and I live a fairly good life in the sense that we've created opportunities for ourselves to be able to go out and have these really cool experiences.
Yes.
And then we get to share them with other people because other people don't get to have those.
Right.
For whatever reason, they're not in the same situation as we are. Now the green grass is always green on the other side. Right. But that is a big reason why I like going out wheeling and being able to talk about these trips on the Rubicon and talk about Fordyce and talk about Sand Hollow and all these really cool wheeling spots. Because not everybody gets to do stuff like that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's one way to help them escape from life, maybe for an hour at a time, experience in a way these places that they may never get to really go and visit in their life.
Right.
And I think that's a big value as well. And I hope that's most of content creators' mentalities out there. Definitely not all of them.
No.
But that's a very, very valid point. And I think is one of the reasons why I wanted to start the podcast, is to be able to help share experiences and help people get away from whatever they're landlocked in for an hour at a time.
Right.
So
yeah, I fully get that. If we're going down that little rabbit hole, I wanted to do the podcast because I thought it would really help my YouTube channel.
How's that going for you?
Now I only do the podcast and I don't do the YouTube channel. So well, that's how much it helped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But no, I do fully get that. I also would love to go to every single one of at least California national parks and shoot a little bit of content and write a blog about it so that people can understand where and what the national parks are around.
Yeah. I think that's a really good thing. I think that a lot of people shit on California. And they have very valid arguments most of the time.
Yeah, sure.
For doing it. But I think that the recreational opportunities we have in California in terms of the national parks, we have the state parks, we have the wheeling, the hiking, the camping, all the different stuff we have in this absolutely amazing landscape that we have in California outweighs the shitty parts of California, in my opinion.
Yeah. Or else we wouldn't be here anymore.
Or else we wouldn't be here, right? And so,
I mean, we could half-ass it and move outside of California, but just enough so that you can still have as much fun in California as you want to have, but then live outside of California.
Yep, you could.
Not mentioning any names, Jason Green.
Yep, you could definitely do that. And then are you now supporting those things anymore?
Yeah.
Or did you give enough support during your life and time in California that you're like, hey, I've given my fair share of support. Now I'm out and I'm going to keep using the stuff because I've already paid for it, kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah. All the
That's a good question.
Could be all the above.
Yeah.
So we definitely pay for it.
We definitely do. It is expensive, and but we get to do some pretty cool stuff. So
that's what actually one of the things I like about Sacramento is we're not like the coolest, most awesome city in the world. But we're not far from some of the coolest, most awesome things in the California. In the world.
Yeah,
too.
very true.
There's a lot of really neat things around this area. From the Rubicon only being a few hours away to San Francisco. Visiting San Francisco is a lot of fun. Obviously I wouldn't want to live there. We got the coastal redwoods. We've got the Sequoia National Forest, which is a little bit away. Yosemite Valley. There's nothing really fun north of us. Let's be honest about that.
There's what did Ben say? God, what was he saying? He's from Dover, which is located between the two Chicos.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways,
but that's one of the joys of Sacramento. Granted, it's hot and miserable in the summer, but it's still it's easy to get away.
Yeah, agreed. All right, cool.
Moving on.
Next one, Zack from Oklahoma.
Zack. Excited to hear more about this camper, hopefully.
Yeah. He sent me a bunch of pictures. Did he send them to you?
No.
Oh, I'll have to show them to you.
Yeah.
It's essentially how he has the extruded aluminum laid out in order to make this camper shell. It's cool. I think it's pretty cool. But anyways, let's see what he has to say.
Yeah.
What's up, Jimmy and Tyler? It's Zack from Oklahoma. There's been a couple of nuggets dropped on the podcast. Also, here's a roller coaster fact for you. The company that owns both Knott's Berry Farm and Cedar Point are the same company. It's called Cedar Fair Parks, and they own a bunch of other ones throughout the nation and stuff. Anyways, that's a roller coaster nugget right there. And then I know on the snail mail, most recent snail mail one as of 7/27, y'all talked about a little bit of maintenance and preservation of certain areas and wildlife, and I would say I have a different perspective on the preserving areas, although it might be different from certain groups who want to say they preserved it but don't do it, they just let it exist and not touch it at all. My thoughts on preserving is more of maintaining, making sure that we have access to the land, that nobody gets hurt. Yes, let it change over time, but if the change if we have to change something, put as little human change in it if possible. I'm a rock climber, and sometimes people have to go up on a rock face and kind of kick some rocks down to make sure that they don't fall on climbers while they're climbing. So making sure people are safe out there and stuff. And just, I don't know, I try to leave as little trace as possible, although there's still chalk marks on some of the stuff that I will hold on to and stuff. But I think the same could be said for mountain biking, overlanding, off-roading, different various forms of off-roading. So I don't know, I think humans are supposed to take care of the land because that's what we were supposed to do originally, in my opinion at least. But anyways, keep crawling, have fun. Bye.
In regards to roller coasters?
Yeah.
I knew that.
Okay.
I knew that Cedar Point was also the same as Knott's Berry Farm, which is also the same as Six Flags.
Okay.
There's like the little limited research I've ever done on roller coasters, like 2 companies that own all the roller coaster parks in the world.
Oh, wow.
Disney's its own thing, obviously. But like the whatever the corporation that Zack said owns, like Six Flags Magic Mountain, Six Flags Discovery Kingdom, the one in San Jose. Shoot, the name escapes me. The one in like near the Levi's Stadium. There's a roller coaster
down there. Not Vallejo.
Great America.
Oh,
That's a different agency.
okay.
But yeah, all the Six Flags, Cedar Point, Knott's Berry Farm, all the same company.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
But yeah, so cool. Love roller coasters. They're fun. Finally got the mini assistant on them, so that's always fun. In regards to leaving the land, with limited human interaction, I agree, but I also think that human interaction is inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
So we do, like, I always say, like, leave the leave it as you found it, pack in, pack out, all that stuff, and I think that kind of falls right in line with, off-roading and overlanding and everything, we leave tire tracks, and if that's the least things we do, then I'm good with that. One of the things about rock climbing, though, is what about all those holes you drill in the rocks and you put metal anchors in there, and then they're shiny on the walls that are up in the in the sky, and it's this,
or they rust and leave.
Maybe they're stainless down the rocks or anything. That how natural is that?
Yeah, and it's a good point, right? I truly believe that we should not try and preserve things, because preserving to some point has a level connotation of never changing, never letting it change, never letting it evolve. I think that we need to be taking care of things.
Yes.
And like you said, human intervention is inevitable. Whether it's good or bad, it's going to happen.
Yes.
But we as a species need to find a way to coexist with everything else. So finding ways to make human travel, human recreation, human intervention sustainable, that's, I think, the key point, which means we have to spend time, resources, people hours, whatever it is, maintaining these ecosystems.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to preserve them and treating human intervention as something that's like an abomination of nature.
Sure.
I
think that you're using really good words where if we preserve it, that means it's not changing, right? It's like, it's the way it was like in 1800s, well, is that the way it should be in the 2100s? Like, who knows? But probably not, because things change, nature changes, things grow, things die, trees fall, knock down other things. Like, you're never going to stop nature.
No.
And from what we've seen and talked about with Ben in those previous great episodes, is that nature is a stronger force than even humans.
Oh, 1000%.
Humans can do some destructive shit and fuck with nature, but nature comes back pretty fast. We've learned. And I'm not saying that now you should go drive over bushes, but I think that us driving down a trail is not nearly as, after those episodes, I'm like, you know what? That's right. It's like, it's not that bad.
No, having designated trails and sticking to the designated trails in order to get out and enjoy nature the way humans have evolved to do.
Yeah.
I think that is totally something that's 100% sustainable. It's a sustainable option. There's no reason why that shouldn't be able to be done.
Right.
But yeah, if you're going and taking and dumping motor oil all over the forest because you're driving through and you hit your oil pan on stuff and you're not on designated routes or anything, I think that's a big problem. That's not sustainable.
Right.
So there's definitely ways to do it. Closure, in my opinion, is never an option. Closure is the lazy option of people who do not want to do their jobs in order to continue allowing people to be people in nature.
Yeah. I think a lot of the problem, though, to some extent comes down with the stupid people and the masses.
Yeah,
right?
I think there's something to that.
And as you've always said, that solution for the most part is education.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I agree with that.
There's, I wanted to talk about this on yesterday's episode, but we kind of ran long. So we're going to go into it here. There's an amazing series on, I think we're watching it on HBO Max. But it's a CNN. CNN did the series.
Okay.
And it's called Violent Earth.
Okay.
Liev Schreiber, however he says his first name, is kind of the host of the show, but it goes over the destructive force, the absolutely torrential destructive force that nature can be in terms of tornadoes and hurricanes and tsunamis and volcanoes and forest fires. And it does a really, really good job of putting into perspective how strong nature can be, how much nature does not give a fuck of what we do at times, how it will be kind of a decider of what it wants to do, and there's nothing we can do or say about it a lot of times.
Yep.
And how it will prove over and over that if we try and prevent, no matter how much we try and prevent some of these things in nature from happening, it will if nature wants it to happen, it's going to happen. And so I think that we as human beings severely underestimate nature in general, the moving force and power of nature. This show just does an amazing job at kind of outlining that and putting it into perspective.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I understand and agree with that. My only concern is that if people see that and then they think, well, then it doesn't matter what the fuck I do. I can go and do whatever because nature's just going to be able to overtake itself. There
is a fair point to that. And my argument to that is eventually it'll get to the point where humans will no longer be around because we have made ourselves extinct, because we've made a natural habitat that we cannot live in.
Well, yeah.
And then after we're gone, I think nature will balance itself back out.
Sure. There was a book. I forgot what it was, but it was in regards to global warming and how the humans screwed over the earth and got too warm and they couldn't live here anymore. Everything was dying. And all they did was move more or less to the moon and wait for the earth to heal. Yeah. And then they were going to go back.
Yeah.
And then, and then the whole thing was about they were going to fuck the earth over again, and they didn't have a way to solve global warming or anything. Yeah. And, they were just waiting for it to go and repeat itself.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is a ridiculous book.
It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
true, but it's not, it's like, damn.
Yeah. And then that's the whole premise behind WALL-E.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Disney movie WALL-E?
Maybe that was it. Maybe that was the movie I was thinking of. Yeah. That's pretty much it. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I don't know. But that
they
option
all got too fat.
Yeah. That option is just not sustainable. Right. And the goal, I think, of human activity is to coexist and find sustainable options for coexistence between us and nature.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very doable thing.
Sure.
And I don't think that locking us out of nature is a feasible option for it.
No, we should all be able to recreate.
Yeah.
All right. One more.
Let's go. Let's see the next one. My phone turned off. Turn on.
You
next
remember
one.
Your passcode? Okay.
3-minute voicemail, no transcript available.
Oh, car warranty.
Mysterious car warranty. Here we go. It's a buckle up, Buttercup.
Hey, Jimmy, Tyler, your favorite Ranger owner down here, Matt in Fresno. Anyway, just listening to your last episode. A couple of things when you're talking about the local trails here. Sand Flats doesn't actually connect to Bald except over a bridge that's only open for over snow vehicles, not open for OHV yet. So technically you can't. Sand Flats is for all the Red Mountain trails, which are Coyote, Red, Strawberry, West, and Muir Lakes in that area. You guys didn't mention Spanish Trail, which is on the other side of the mountain, and that one got heavily destroyed by fire maybe 4 or 5 years ago. But you can wheel to that, but you can't actually wheel to the lake anymore. It got closed access to that when a bunch of wilderness areas got put in maybe 15, 20 years ago. So now the trail stops about a mile short, but there is I don't know if it's World War II or Vietnam era plane crash that's up in that area that if you Google around, you can find information on and that you can hike to from that trail. Bald Mountain Tower, the Forest Service was actually going to rip that down many years ago, and the four-wheel drive community came together, raised money, and a lot of the clubs actually rebuilt that so that that tower is open now for access and that you can hike up to it, or you can climb up the tower. And it's also multiple different routes in there. There's a lot of different ways in there. And from one way, there's been people that have actually gotten like Camrys up to the tower. So just because you got the ball doesn't mean it was that hard. Depends on which route you're going. One of the clubs you guys forgot to mention that does a ton of work up here, a couple of them, are the Fresno 4-Wheel Drive Club. They're probably one of the older ones around here. They used to do a lot of the maintenance, along with Clovis Independence. And another big club that does a lot of the trail maintenance around here is the Hill Hoppers. But they're usually a bunch of Toyota guys, so whatever. And actually, that'd be a good guy for you guys. Get on there, Bryce, who's a member there. He is the owner of... I can't remember the name of it, but he's got a local shop here, Timberline Off-Road, and he's got a pretty cool 4Runner like yours. If those 4Runners can actually be cool. One thing too, this area has a lot of endangered frogs in the area. A lot of our trails run through, and that's why we have a limited use of time that we can access those trails. There's the Yosemite toad, something another, and the yellow frog, something another too, that are endangered, that have a lot of their area that they go in is also correlated to the trails. So we have to work heavily with them, with the Forest Service, for access, which has actually become a pretty good little working relationship.
Oh, he got cut off, he called back 2 more times.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So, but this is one of the guys I really wanted to call in about the Shaver Lake area from our wheeling stuff. So let's listen to all 3 of his voicemails. I think he's got a lot of good information here about the Shaver Lake area. So,
all right.
Second one.
All right. So now I got cut off and I'm back again. Anyway, we've gotten to work very well with the Forest Service to get in on the trails earlier than we could if we didn't have such a good working relationship with the Forest Service with these endangered frogs. They've actually found them. They've had them Kaiser Pass Road that you guys talked about going out to Edison and Florence. They've find them dead out there quite a bit. The hard part is these frogs, like a juvenile frog's about the size of your pinky nail, and fully grown, they maybe get to the size of a silver dollar. So they're hard to see, hard to find. But they're out there and they got kind of a goofy life cycle where they take a long time to turn from tadpoles and all that. We get the whole rundown every year when we're clearing the Ducey. This year, there were maybe like 30, 40 trees down on Ducey. Last year, there were 480 that we had to clear to open the trail.
Holy shit.
So that trail has its usage from August 1st to November 1st. So it's a limited time window. So when you get a chance, run it. It's a beautiful trail. It's awesome. I recommend taking 3 to 5 days at least to run the trail, minimum of 3. That way you can break it up. It is 33 miles long. Stop at a bunch of different lakes and meadows up there, camping at different places that are awesome. So I recommend taking as long as you can. There's an awesome way you can kind of interconnect a lot of trails one at a time. The thing with Ducey is because it's 33 miles and you start one end, come out in a different location. And by road, it's like, 100 miles to get back around to it. And you have huge elevation climbs which is why you burn so much fuel. When I do it, if I run all the way through, I fill up until I can't get any more fuel in my tank. In Shaver, I run a 23-gallon tank, and I can run out and I can run the whole trail and then coast my way back down to Fresno without having to refuel.
Wow.
So recommend 20 plus, maybe even more. You got a healthy V8, you probably are looking at 30. So 30 gallons you need to carry on that trail because it's so long and you can't get back to your trailer very easy without a couple hours of road driving as well. So anyway, that's local stuff. When you get a chance to run those trails, let me know, and we'll go out and hit some of them. All right, take care.
And called back one more time.
Okay.
Hey, a couple other things I forgot. Red Lake, yeah, you took your old Tacoma into Red Lake 6-7 years ago whenever you got rid of that. When I was there with you, it's gotten torn up quite a bit since then. I mean, it's not a lot harder, but you would probably get some damage on something that long now trying to make the turns in there. The holes have definitely gotten bigger, and it saw a ton of use during COVID. So that trail's definitely taken and gotten torn up a lot more to where it would be pretty tough getting that through there. I mean, people do it. I've seen some stuff in there, but you would definitely have to take your time. And then good old Muir, how can we forget my trip down there when I about flopped multiple times down the side. So thank you for your spot and keep my daughter and I from flopping down Muir. Anyway, keep crawling, guys. See ya.
Awesome. Thanks for calling in, Matt.
Yeah, that was awesome. Excellent and amazing information. Very in depth. Thank you very much. That was fantastic for that area.
Yeah.
Which for me is I have limited knowledge of it. You know, so that was rad. I have two things sort of written down in regards to it. Closed that. Forgot what that was called. Snake Lake on the backside. Spanish Trail. Yeah. That they closed 100 yards down from the lake for some reason. He didn't really go into it, but that's like the exact reason you shouldn't be doing things like that. Like the trail, like it got burnt up in a fire. Understood that probably the ground isn't the dirt's going to be running off now because the vegetation isn't there. But because you close the access to the lake, now you're limiting why people are going to be going up there. Probably not anymore because now you can't get to the lake. So now more people are going to hit other parts of that entire area. So
you're creating usage density issues.
Yes.
By closing off areas.
Those are big words, but exactly what I was getting to. Yeah.
Yeah. I like to be efficient with words, but no, for sure. It's, and you're just closing off like the last, I don't know, we said half mile, quarter mile, whatever it is, but it's like, who is that helping? That's not, I mean, people are still going to go there if they really want to. They'll just park. They'll either park where the trail ends or go around the barricade, whatever they set up, and continue on. And they're still going to go out to the lake. You're still going to, I don't know.
What was the purpose of that? I have no idea, but that's, in my opinion, that's absolutely wrong. Like close the whole trail if you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Just don't be like, man, we'll just close this a little bit. Yeah. And the other thing I had written down was frogs. I had no idea about any of those frogs. It's just like, interesting that there's, a protected species out there that, I mean, I'm sure there is absolutely everywhere, but I had no idea. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And that's really neat that instead of just closing up the whole area because there's an endangered species, they're looking at solutions and ways to coexist with this endangered species so that we can still go out and enjoy the area. Maybe it's limited time at which we get to enjoy the area, but we still get to go out and enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think that's a great example of coexistence with sustainable habitats kind of thing. So
I think this falls right into our previous conversation, right? I mean, these are for the most, it was one bad example and one good example about how these are both possible.
Yep. So cool stuff. Thanks for calling in, Matt. Definitely. I still want to get down there and do a bunch of the trails in the Forerunner, including Doozy. It's still on my bucket list. I have not done Doozy in my adult life yet.
Yeah. I've never done it either.
Or Swamp. I haven't done Swamp in my adult life either.
Yeah.
So.
And I hope if, Weld's Taco, I know you're going to be running Doozy here fairly like within a month. And if you need more information, hit me up and I'll connect you and Matt together.
Cool. Sweet. That's it for today. We're running a little long for a snail mail episode, so we'll cut it here. We'll listen to the next, 5 or 6 voicemails next Friday. Everybody, if you guys have something to call in and give feedback on, give some extra information that we missed on, and some corrections, whatever it is, call it in. We love hearing from you. 916-345-4744. I think that's about it. Everybody have a great weekend. Hopefully you guys have some fun stuff planned, and we'll see you back on Monday, huh?
Sounds great.
All right. Remember everybody, keep crawling. Peace.
The number you have called has been disconnected.